not gonna lie, the flags were a little bit excessive, but hopefully it was fun just to see something like that. Anyways, today I really want to talk about why I vote and why my very first vote for president will be for a Democrat. I think that this is an important topic to hit on, especially with this not only being my very first presidential election, but also being 20 and coming into adulthood. I mean, I'll be 21 in exactly 3 weeks from today. So I really think that this is something important that one day I can look back on and be like, oh, you stupid kid, or be like, hey, you were doing something, you were smart. But just a little bit of background. I took an interest in politics at an early age. I'm talking 2008. I was 8 years old, and President Obama had gotten elected to office for the first time, and that was really exciting. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the video later on. So stick around so you can see what that really meant to me, and I get to share that part of my life with you. But a lot has transpired since 2008. A lot has transpired since 2008. I mean, it's been 12 years. And so a lot has happened, and I wanted to engage democracy in a more impactful way. And I've understood that I truly believe that my place on this earth is to have some role in our democracy, whether that be running for office, whether that be influencing people to go vote, whether that be inspiring people to get involved in the political process. I have a role there somewhere. And so I've always wanted to engage democracy in a more impactful way. And voting is a start. Voting is a way for me to have my voice heard, and voting is a way for me to decide my own future. Anyways, I could sit here and I could tell you everything, and I could tell you this entire story of how I've gotten to where I am today, but I really want to take you around my city, my hometown, Fayetteville, and I want to show you some spots, and I want to let you know what they mean to me, to give you a better picture of why I'm voting and why my first vote will be for a Democrat. So join me on this journey. Let's go to our first site. At spot number 1, and this is the place of my first real protest. Not only is this the space of my first real protest, but this is also the Washington County Courthouse, and this is where I cast my vote whenever I go to vote. This place is really special to me just because it's kind of the place where democracy meets. Before my kind of first protest, I went to Boys Nation and Boys State and really learned there the value of democracy and learned how much democracy really does depend on me and my action in it and having a role and making it work. Because if you don't exercise your rights, then our democracy isn't going to get any stronger. The following spring, it was the March for Our Lives, and we marched from our high school to the county courthouse, and there was a lot of anger and frustration with that march and with that movement, and I never kind of felt so helpless in my life because I was out here fighting for something that I believed in, but at the same time I didn't know what to do, and I felt like there had to be some type of action. That's where I really was like, wow, like I have to do something. I have to get involved in a more impactful way and in a more meaningful way. So I feel like I'm voting for a Democrat because of the values of really wanting to make a society that's better for everyone and be able to build on the democracy that we have. And I feel like voting for a Democrat this election is going to help us achieve that goal of voting for someone who believes in the values of this country and wants to make this country even stronger than it ever has been before. There's no reason to stay stagnant, but we can always build on what's already been built for us. All right, on to the next spot. Okay, so a little awkward position here, but this is the next spot on our journey. This is the Mount Sequoia cross overlook, and it overlooks the entire city of Fayetteville, the city that I grew up in. And you may ask, why did I come here? I mean, this seems like just a really beautiful spot to overlook, but it means so much more to me. Whenever I really lived at home consistently, back in high school, I would come up here and I would pray and I would meditate and just have personal time with God up here. And the cross was here, which just kind of made it even better. And what this really meant to me whenever I see the cross and whenever I am able to talk to God is I think of compassion, and I feel like right now we're not really seeing a lot of compassion. I feel like right now there's an overall culture of individualism, and there's a culture of competitiveness that I would really like to get over. I'd like to get to a place of true compassion, and I feel like that starts from the top down. And so that's another reason why I'll be voting for a Democrat this election. I'll be voting for someone who I believe will instill values of compassion into our country. And also, one thing that I've noticed over the past few years, and this didn't start in 2016, it started before 2016, maybe 2014, 2015, I started to notice that people were becoming more emboldened to be hateful, particularly in my city, which is really. Alright, this last placing honestly doesn't really mean much. I was just outside and it's really nice out, and I just wanted to come sit for a little bit. The last reason why I'm voting the way that I am is for the future. I believe that America is a place of opportunity, and I believe that America has always been a place that's always innovating and always one step ahead, or even two steps ahead of everyone else. And I've been afforded so many opportunities in my life that I can honestly say I wouldn't have had anywhere else in the world. And I feel like right now we're at a point where people are kind of taking it for granted. And I feel like people don't quite understand what all we do have. And because of that, we're not really in a place where we're wanting to innovate. And so that's the last reason why I'm choosing to vote the way that I am, to be able to continue to innovate and make more opportunity for the people to come after me, for my sister, for my little sister, for everyone else. I really would like more opportunity to be created, and I feel like voting Democratic is going to encourage even more innovation and encourage people to think about everyone else and how we can create opportunity for our neighbors instead of just for ourselves. All right, well, back home now, and we went on that little journey, and you all got to see a little bit into why I'm choosing to vote the way that I am. Now, there's one last thing that I really want everyone to see before I say goodbye.
First family. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear. Woo! That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Help you God. Congratulations.
Alright, if you were still just a little confused because the video isn't the best quality, that was President Obama's second inauguration. And I got the opportunity to go to that with my mom, and it was an amazing experience, and I got to see him be inaugurated as president, which is super special, not only as an American to see your president inaugurated into the highest office as the land, but it's also super special to be able to see the first Black man who was elected to president of the United States be sworn in. And his presidency really meant a lot to me. It really showed me that I could do whatever it is that I wanted to do in life, and that anything that was stereotypically held for a certain person or for a certain group of people, that was no longer true. And that any space that I wanted to be in, I was allowed to be there. And Barack Obama, he really solidified that, and he really made that true for everyone. So that's really why I vote. And that's really my inspiration behind voting, is voting since the inception of our country has been reserved for a few people. And over time, that right has been expanded to more people. but we still have a ways to go. And we live in a time now where a lot of people have the right to vote, but there's so many factors out there to intimidate people from going to vote. And if Barack Obama had the courage to run for office, and if he had the courage to stay in office all 4 years, even though there were people who didn't want him there, then I feel like the least I can do is exercise the rights that I do have and not let anyone intimidate me from voting. And I can spread the message to other people to not be intimidated from voting, and that you have the right to vote, you have the capability to vote, and no one can tell you otherwise. Now, just one last thing before I say goodbye. I know I already said that, but I really mean it this time. Just one last thing is that I know that the reasons that I stated while I was voting for a Democrat for my first time voting in a presidential election, they seem kind of generic, and they seem like, well, that's what everybody votes on. And it is. But this time I get to make the decision myself. And I'm figuring out this whole adulthood thing. But in the past, with my family, I've always gone to vote with my mom or my dad, and they've always told me, push this button and fill in this circle when we did paper ballots, or touch this right here on the screen. And I would do it because they told me to, and I just had to go along with it. And at the time, granted, I didn't really know much about what was going on, but now that I'm at an age, and now that I have the mindset to be able to make decisions for myself, it means a lot to be able to say, here's why I'm voting, regardless of how generic it may sound to anyone else. And it feels great to take this step forward into adulthood. Being an adult in the United States, I feel like it's a rite of passage to kind of vote in your first election. And so this is very special to me that I get to make a decision of my own free will, and I get to say, here's why I'm voting for me, regardless of anyone else that may be voting for the same reasons. This is why I'm voting. And it's very special to me. So yeah, for anyone else that's out there that may be voting for the first time in a presidential election, comment down below. I really would love to have a community of young people that can listen to each other and learn from each other, and have honest conversations with each other about what this whole coming into adulthood thing. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I really hope it was engaging. I really hope that you were able to relate somewhat to what I was saying. So I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.